Tonight's show, we're talking about the cause of suffering, and I'm answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
That looks like a Devin or David.
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You like to summon your end table that you this too.
My God, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You might be hard on your right knee when you're running. Make sure you're not too hard on the right knee.
100%.
Okay.
Honey, I'm a runway walker. Okay.
I don't know what she's showing me flowers. Like, relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are dead.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed
100%.
everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Camera's psychic, who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh, there you
know
won.
it's
You
not
won.
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I said, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? The solution for me is awakening people to the bull.
I agree.
People need to stop being deterred by nonsense. You gotta summon the people.
I don't just come on here and talk or parrot. I'm living it.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on a culture.
Hello, beautiful souls. Happy Thursday night. Welcome to the Cruzy Verse. How are you all doing? How's this week been treating you? It's been a roller coaster of events. Shall we talk about that, about the economy, what's going on, the market, up, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, the only thing I've seen going up and down that much is an ass. So, but you guys should not be, persuade into put into fear because of fear mongering with the political bullshit. And make sure you guys are seeing through that because, as far as the market's concerned, the market's been manipulated for so many years. This is it's not even predictive, it's psychic to be predictive of this. It's very, I would say, obvious based on the trends of knowing how the feds work, those who are connected with the feds. Now, the past, decade or so, we're getting politicians that are bumping, arms with the feds so they can easily influence the market too. And it's all market manipulation, as I was saying before. So either way, collectively, we will benefit in the end because we're all on this collective journey, spiritually speaking, and so we're all supposed to benefit. So no matter what happens, things will always work out in our favor. So don't be looking to your politicians. Don't be looking to those that are trying to lead. Look up to your own perspective, your own intuition, your own discernment, so you know where you're going, how to maneuver around things. Because no matter what, there's people that always thrive. Even when there's depressions, there's people that start thriving during depressions or recessions and so forth. So you want to be one of those people that thrives no matter what. And so you can help others to thrive as well. But again, this is kind of the topic tonight that we're going to talk about, which is, the cause of suffering. And so don't allow yourself to suffer based on the hypotheticals. What if? And so at the end of the day, our collective current, the collective energy of spirit, of source, is driving the show. So is Mother Nature. Man can't influence that. 1 man, 2 men, 3 men can't influence that. We're on an evolutionary path. So don't be so, I would say, hung up over the stand-ins and the pawns that are being, used in our physical reality. Dictate how you maneuver in your own reality. Okay. Use it as a guide as far as what we need more of and what we need to be using more of our voice for. And that's where things will start moving forward. And need to come together depending on, we have to come together despite what other people are thinking, feeling politically, and just understand we got to find a common ground and also stand up for things too, to put an end to certain things. So this is where we're at. This is our timeline. So again, we've chosen the roller coaster. Can't complain when it goes up and down if we've chosen to have that roller coaster called physical reality. Okay, so let's see who's chatty Cathy in the room, shall we? David Cruz, first one in the room. Welcome aboard, my father. And Kate Yo, good to see you. Jennifer Cruz, third in the room. I'm sure you guys are chatting before. I'm just seeing kind of who started chatting when I logged on live. Couldn't see who's doing it before. Brendan Zweck, Noah Way, good to see you. Horses Trigger Hope. Horse Sugar Hope says, I really love this picture, Scott. Somehow you look completely innocent and definitely not innocent at the same time. That's true. I think I've very much presented exactly my tone is very much that. Innocent, but not that innocent. Ow. Wait, I'm not. Isn't that Britney Spears song? I'm not that innocent. Kate, yo, good to see you. Kate says, maybe I should explain from the Southern Hemisphere, and I do chuckle at how often I see my deliberated Mercury in action. Oh, yes. Darby Mabry, good to see you. A wonderful mod Nina is in the room. So if you want to get a question in tonight, get them in now, because I'm in the middle of a move, so I am going to be very short and timely with these next 2 live shows, because a week from now, I will be in Nevada. So I do want to keep my live shows quick and speedy. Okay. And so $15 for a card pull, $20 for 1 question, $30 for 2 questions, $40 for a live video with me. The PayPal and Venmo links are in the description. If you have any questions, Nina will guide you on how to do so. Get them in now. And remember, your card pulls are meant to be quick messages and not full reads. And same thing with the 1, 2 questions, very speedy. That's the whole point of tonight's show as well. Then get them in. And I'm pretty good at being thorough with short responses and good responses. So Kristen Villarreal, good to see you. Kristen says, hi there. Hi, my beautiful, wonderful Scott and Nina. Hello, beautiful. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. You're in early. Fantastic. Colette Love, big hugs, y'all. David Cruz, Iggy. Can't you see? My heart's beating faster. I know what I'm after. I don't know what that's from, but bring in the tunes, boy. Bring in the tunes. Michaela, Alma Ford, good to see you. Who else chatted? Michaela, I think I said. Sydney Aaron, good to see you. We're all living it. Oh my God, is not true. The Vienna Sherry, hello, good to see you. Welcome aboard. Christina Noel Carter, good to see you. Andy Joe, hey guys, what's up? Devin Dorr, good to see you. Yes, it's funny. Angel is in the room. Every time I talk to Devin, I say Angel. I call it Devin Angel, and we have demons and angels here, so because we're talking about polarity tonight. So good to see you, Devin. Welcome aboard. And Ron G, good to see you. Lisa Guzma, sorry, the font is like this big. Tommy Garassi, and anyone else who's watching can't see you. You have your privacy, so thank God I can't see you, so you don't have to worry about me calling you out by your name. Those of you who are new, I do start with a collective read. Once into a collective read, I do utilize tarot and oracle cards, but again, I don't need so. I'm a psychic medium, so I can just read it, but it's good at like navigation. If Spirit say, look here, talk here. And then we'll get into the topic, and it's the cause of suffering. You know, why do we suffer? Why do people suffer? What can we do when we're suffering? How do we get out of suffering? How do we help others who are suffering? And so there's a reason for suffering. It exists. Why? And do we need to stop it? How do we navigate it? We'll get into that. So let's see what the collective read is for the week. Moving ahead, and again, I usually week to week, but we know we're in this kind of like this funnel of consistency to a certain degree. So every week to week may always be this kind of the same message, but you know, tonight I'm just going to kind of see if there's an overall generalized message, not so much for the week, but so much for you now. All right. Have y'all been sensing that things have been kind of like, I don't know, quiet? Like almost like a calm before the storm energy? Have y'all been feeling that energy lately? Because I've been kind of feeling that. But like peaceful, but eerily peaceful too at the same time, and eerily quiet. How many of y'all have been feeling that in the room? And then a lot of people are feeling that, and then there's like a sense of trepidation, or not so much trepidation, but like feeling this like weird energy of like quiet energy, but at the same time, like there's something unsettled looming or lurking, right? Like something's about to happen. I don't know how many guys have been feeling that, because I haven't feeling that. Like a calm before the pickle storm. That's very true. Because it ain't no big deal, right? It ain't no big deal. Okay, these cards are even sporadic. Let me get a couple minutes here. Because these cards, even I'm trying to shuffle these and... Okay. And I heard when the live show started, my guys say, talk about disappointment. So I know somewhere along these cards are going to be talking about disappointment. And how to deal with such. Right. Michaela says, I feel like I left a timeline. It's true, right? And everything as of like the past couple days for me, I feel like everything is so in sync, like more so than usual. Things are oddly connecting together too, which is good, you know. But yes, it feels like a timeline jump or something, which I'm hoping I see the crappy people on the other timeline. Hopefully they're on another timeline somewhere else. But who knows? Okay. There's a lot of cards. Everything feels very scattered with these cards, but it's funny. I heard my guide saying, talk about disappointment and the essence of such, and this is the loss card. So any other card in the tarot that demonstrates loss and disappointment would be this card right here. But what creates disappointment? Give me a couple seconds. Let me just tune in. Okay. What creates disappointment? What is the essence of disappointment? So when we're disappointed, we usually feel deprived of something. And we feel deprived of something and we don't get what we want from that circumstance or situation or outcome. We get and feel disappointed that we're in lack, right? We're back in lack mode. We're back in, I feel deprived and I don't feel whole again, right? You see, because disappointment is almost a judgment call saying, I needed that. I was supposed to have that. It was supposed to work out in the way I thought it was supposed to work out. It was supposed to go the way I intended for it to go, but it didn't. So I'm disappointed. That person didn't behave like I wanted him to behave, so I'm disappointed. My child is making different decisions than I thought they'd make in their lives, so I'm disappointed. Right? We just got to start being more objective about disappointment, because if we're looking at things from that lens, that sounds kind of arrogant. Or it sounds kind of very self-defeatist at the same time, too, because it's like if certain things don't pan out the way you thought they would, that could potentially be in your favor. That could potentially be saving you a load of heartache. That could be potentially saving you from a long, drawn-out experience that would actually deter you from getting what you truly want in the long run. So instead of being disappointed that we're not getting what we want, or gosh, I didn't have to, or someone I love did not respond that I wanted to respond, well, everything has their own modality. And if your happiness is contingent on somebody else's responses to you or how the circumstances evolve, whether it be in your favor or not, you can't see through the benefit, the lesson through those things, then you will always be in a state of loss. You always feel like you're being in a state of deprivation, not getting what you want. Relying on false premise of things, theories, ideologies to make you feel better so you don't feel disappointed. I see a lot of people rely on like religions and these, like I always call out these faux spiritual communities, because it gets them away from feeling disappointed. It puts them in this haze of false sense of hope. Right? And in a sense, like keeps them, codependent on those ideologies so they don't feel disappointed any longer. And that keeps them in a cycle of trepidation, keeps them in isolation. You see, because disappointment is just a choice. You can really snap out of disappointment and say, well, maybe this is working out for me, or maybe this is just the wrong timing. Let's gather myself together and see, what is the timing that I need right now? What are the things that I should be focusing on? What are the things I do need to bring into my life right now? Maybe I'm shooting myself from the foot. We can completely change the essence of disappointment and turn it into, my soul is navigating here. I'm not aware of how it's driving the show. I'm just a backseat driver, just like, what's going on here? Instead of being in tune to the soul that is driving the show and understanding the soul knows what's best for us. The soul will place things in our lives that we need and take things out of our lives that we don't need. That means both on the positive and negative end of the spectrum. The positive and the negative end of the spectrum, as we can see in the background here. So even if you weren't welcomed in that cheating boyfriend, you welcomed in that financial issue, you welcomed in, again, these situations that were depriving of you, your soul knew to bring it in because it needs to wake you up to a realization about yourself that you need to expand out of so you stop feeling disappointed in your life, that you start driving the show. That's where you start celebrating things. Everything becomes a celebration, because if you recognize everything is happening for you, through you, but not to you, then you start recognizing the story here. You start making the understanding of why things are happening the way they're happening, why things are not happening the way they're happening. You understand that you're actually in control based on your perception of how you're experiencing your life. And you start celebrating that, things always do have a message behind it. You start seeing the message behind everything in your reality. That becomes a very celebratory experience. That's true growth. But understand, disappointment isn't some built-in feeling that you have. It's a choice. See, I used to be disappointed about a lot of things. I used to be disappointed about the collective energy. I used to be disappointed about how people respond and how people behave. And that's a big challenge of mine, because I know I'm a very giving person, a very considerate person. Dealing with inconsiderate people would make me very reactive. Then I recognize, I'm not being considerate to myself because I'm overemphasizing other people's choices. That is really, I'm not being considerate of my own energy, allowing myself to just disconnect from what other people are doing. And so then I allow myself to be more objective in saying they have their own path, that everyone has their own story. We don't know their story. And then I just recognize that I'm not moved. I'm not affected by that any longer. And the freedom of knowing that there doesn't have to be parameters that make me feel a certain way or dictate how I feel feels very freeing. And then I know I can never be in pain. I can never be hurt. I can never be scared, nor can I ever be disappointed. Wouldn't that be nice if you guys can look at your life and say to yourselves, I'm living my life and I know I can never be disappointed ever in my life. I can never feel pain. I can never feel hurt. There'll be some growing pains. But you're in control of the circumstances. Isn't that freeing? Ask yourself this. What if you said to yourself, I will never feel disappointment for the rest of my life? How would that feel? How would you behave? Would you see things a little differently if you knew disappointment was just an illusion, that disappointment was just a choice of how you're trying to encode the lessons or the timing of certain things in your life? What would you do? How would you live life if you knew there would be no more disappointment in your life? How would you behave? Most of you guys would take that leap of faith. Most of you guys would go out there and talk to that person you might be looking at and want to flirt with. You might just take that chance. You're like, oh, I can't be disappointed, so what's the harm? Let's go do it. And if they say no, it's not the right person, moving on. You would go for that job interview. You would ask for that raise. You would take that leap of faith and go to that new, the new home, the new location, so to speak. You take those leaps of faith because you wouldn't be so afraid of rejection and disappointment. You'd be like, that doesn't exist for me. And that's what the Three of Cups is all about, celebratory energy coming together. But, this is my triad energy too. The triad energy of mind, body, and spirit connection, right? So this is also reflecting too, coming out of loss, is like unifying the mind, body, soul energy. And that's where things become in harmony. And that's where you can see through the physical challenges and what they really truly represent and what they mean, And so then we have the Hermit card in reverse is all about getting out of your own way and getting out of your own self and expressing the self, especially with the Star card, is expressing yourself. You're coming out of that essence of like withholding yourself because I'm afraid of being disappointed. If there's a fear of disappointment, you're allowing yourself to say, disappointment is a choice. I can move on and find any opportunity. If I'm not good at picking things in my life, a lot of people are bad at picking things in their lives. They're a bad picker. You find what your picker really is. You have to learn about creating a better picker for yourself by learning more about yourself. And that comes with some trial and error. But you take those leaps of faith, you step outside of self and understand what balance truly is. You see, because balance really is understanding there's a reason. There's always, and we talk about learning curves and lessons and what is for you. Not everything for you is positive. Sometimes there's the things that are for you that are negative. And like I always say, negative energy is just a separating, disconnecting energy, and positive energy is just a very expansive, a very inclusive, a building energy, right? And so sometimes we need those things in our lives that are disconnecting. If you're in an abusive relationship, you got to disconnect from that. That's negative energy, but you need that. And if you're not getting a message, sometimes you need to bang your body up a little bit to understand that you're not taking care of yourself. There are things you're left, everything's happening for you and through you. We got to get out of the mentality that everything's happening to us. This is why the state of the world is in what it's in, because we're blaming politicians, we're blaming leaders, we're blaming this person, this Republican, this Democrat, this whatever. We're blaming so many other things outside of ourselves instead of being the role models that we need to be by just exhibiting that we wish to see in our world, in our own lives. That's a very cliche sentiment. Be the change you want to see in the world. How many of y'all being that change you want to see in the world? Because if everybody actually was practicing that would spread like wildfire. People would be too busy enjoying the fruits of their own labor and productivity and the fruits of their own expressions. They would not care. No one would care what somebody else is doing or not. Wouldn't matter because we're all just thriving. Be one of those individuals. Be the individual that understands that disappointment is only a choice. Disappointment is only an option that I'm selecting because I didn't get my way, because I did not see the bigger picture that it's actually happening for me. And if I'm not ready for something I'm pushing for, why is that? Am I being conditional? Am I trying to fill a void? Right? So, I didn't shuffle oracle cards. Let me shuffle some oracle cards on it too. So disappointment is a form of suffering. Disappointment is a form of suffering, because if you stay in the state, even wanting something, the state of wanting is suffering. Imagine if you're always wanting something to eat. You're hungry. I want food. And it turns into a need. The more you want for something, it then becomes a need. And no matter if it's realistically your need or not, a want that has been wanted for so long turns into a need. So, for example, so many people who've grown up and didn't get attention, they want attention. Then they don't get the attention. That want turns into a need. They need attention. And just think how they go about trying to get the attention they need. Oh, that's where all the negative expressions, those disempowering expressions happen in their lives. I need the attention. I need the fix. I need validation. We should be very conscious about all the wants that have actually evolved and upgraded into needs, and ask ourselves, do I really need that? I need a relationship. I don't want to be alone, as what I hear a lot of times. Like, why do you need it? Like, let's take 5 steps back for a moment. Why do you need a relationship? Shouldn't these things in your life be something that are wants? I want it because I want to express myself through a relationship. I want companionship. Why do you need it? What is depriving of you that want has turned into a necessity? And a lot of that answer is because you've detached yourself from satisfying the self. You detach yourself from understanding that you can actually fulfill that energy at any time, at any place, any moment. That you allowed yourself to be, your emotions, a state of being, to be contingent on people and circumstances, and that's the trap. That leads to more disappointment. That leads to suffering. That keeps you in the state of wanting. And so, suffering is a result of, I would say the main cause of suffering is ignorance. And people tend to use the word ignorance as a sense of calling someone stupid, which is not true. That's why stupid is a word, stupid, and ignorance is another word. The word ignore is in the word ignorance. Ignore, to ignore something, to not pay attention to something. So a lot of times people suffer because they're not paying attention to what is going on within their circumstances. They're not choosing to look at it or choosing to fight against it. Or there's even a streamline of events from people who are in charge, or people who've been mentors or leaders of certain people and influence on certain people. They were ignorant and they passed down their ignorance. So the cause of suffering, number one cause, is ignorance. And a streamline of events of pure ignorance. We've all seen those stories, because my mind always go to people saying, but what about these children who are in abusive homes in third world countries? I said, but there's always a story of that one that escaped. There's always that story about a few that crossed the oceans and found a new life. My grandparents did. They came over the boat. How many of y'all have grandparents that came over the boat? They left their detrimental lives to seek a better life. There's always some that do that. There's always some sort of hope in the process, and no matter how dire the circumstance or how dire those are suffering, there's always someone that has a light that goes off and says, I'm going to work through this and work my way out of it. And they do. That's the beautiful immigrants of our country, right? They've made a way. They've created a way for themselves through the suffering or whatever limitations they were privy and born into. But that's a choice, because they understood that these circumstances is something that is not resonating with what they desire, that they were allowing themselves to grow from those circumstances, and they did. And many people create and change their lives in such a beautiful way. But suffering, again, is one of those situations, being ignorant. A lot of people are suffering because they're in a loop. And again, I always use a cheating boyfriend, the very two-dimensional example, because I think everyone can understand that aspect, both on those who are experiencing it and those who watch and listen to friends who talk about their cheating boyfriends, right? So those who have I'm always getting cheating boyfriend, oh, I can't trust men, cheating boyfriend, can't trust men, cheating boyfriend. That's a loop. There's nothing rational about that. But when you're stuck in a loop, that's suffering. You're suffering when you're stuck in a loop. When you keep yourself in that loop of deprivation because of an experience that you've had that you didn't like, because you were disappointed, then you start creating that the whole world is this way. All men are cheaters, right? We create these blanket statements that the whole world is this way. Then we shelter ourselves from meeting people again and meeting new people or defining the types of people we want. We suffer. I'm alone. It's a loop. And that suffering is a choice because you choose to be disappointed by a couple experiences, or the fact that you do not have a great perception of what you truly need on the soul level, what you truly desire, what it truly fits with your soul versus these wants that turn desires and necessities that are really not desires and necessities. They're just deprivations. So that's a major cause of suffering. But even deeper on the spiritual level, the 5D point of view, suffering is something a lot of people have chosen to allow the soul to expand, like growing pains. And this is a level of reality. Many empaths look at people and like, oh my God, they're suffering. I got to save them from their suffering. But I like to use an analogy too with the butterfly emerging from the cocoon, because a human will look at this butterfly trying to emerge from the cocoon, and a human would say, "Oh my God, it's struggling. Let me try to help it out." It helps out, and you kill the butterfly. How did your help do? You thought it was suffering, but it's a natural process for the butterfly to push against the resistance to push out of the cocoon and to emerge. That's its natural process. But no, the human's like, "Oh, but I want to help it." It kills it. A lot of humans have that syndrome on the human-to-human level. Oh, they're addicts. Let me help house them. Let me help them. Let me give them food. Let me give them money. I got to help them. You're just creating more of an addiction. You're creating more of an enabling energy. You're actually fueling more and enabling more of that energy within that person because you want to help. You think they're suffering. When people are truly suffering on the soul level, because many people choose different karmic paths that you may not understand, but they might enjoy or feel comfortable in their own karmic process, that you end up intruding in their karmic process and thus extending their level of karma and learning of their karmic lesson, which you end up actually doing more damage to them on the spiritual level because you had the need to help them because you didn't like the fact you thought they were suffering. You see, because when people are really, really suffering, they speak up about it. They try to do something about it. Those, like I said before, in a loop of suffering who are, in those cheating boyfriend relationships, they go into this hibernation mode, but then it's something at some point, they get frustrated, like, oh, I'm just going to go out and meet someone. I'm just going to do something. And they eventually will push themselves out of that mess and that hole and that loop. But people have to do that in their own timing. So suffering, again, a cause of suffering is, another cause of suffering is the fact that you think someone's suffering, and you end up putting empathy on a circumstance that doesn't require it, and then you suffer because they actually will then take advantage of you and blame you for their issues or take advantage or they don't change like you want them to change. That's suffering. You put yourself in suffer mode. Taken advantage of. Right? And same thing, and I was had a session with a client. This happens all the time too, where mothers worry. I understand that. It's part of a natural process of mother worry about their children. But I'm saying to yourself, you can't exhibit that worry for your child. You got to turn it into just a love and concern and a nurturing energy, because if your child is fine where they're at and they're maneuvering life in their own time and you just keep putting worry on them, they'll resist you. They'll resist you. And so your own state of worry puts you in suffering because your child might be quite all right, but because you're worried that they're not making the decisions that you want them to make, you think that they need a relationship, but they don't want a relationship. They'll resist you. And then you suffer and you deprive yourself of the relationship with your child the way it need be, because you're assuming that they're suffering because they're not having the things the way you think they need to have them. And I get that a lot of times with parents saying that my child needs a relationship. Like, I just wish they had a boyfriend or girlfriend, but I'm like, but they don't want one. They'll have one eventually, but they don't want a relationship. They're quite content. Don't put that worry on them, because then you're actually going to suffer where they're going to resist you and you're going to lose that relationship. So a lot of times we create our own suffering just by our, I would say, assumption that someone else may be suffering when they're not. So we have to be very objective about these things and understand there's a reason. Everyone's experiencing things for a reason. People are truly suffering. People will scream up and speak up about that. It's not your job to intervene, because at the end of the day, what we react to, we will relate to. So if someone is suffering and you think they're suffering, you're the one that's really suffering if you're putting on someone who's not really suffering. And another form of suffering is, like, it's kind of similar to what I was saying before, the ignorance, not learning about yourself. Not understanding that things happen for a reason, not understanding that there's a methodology to a soul living in physical reality. There's a reason, there's a format, there's a process to this. Things are just not randomized. Okay? And so when you understand this, you wouldn't feel like you're bound or a victim to reality. And so many people, say to themselves, oh, I know the universe isn't hearing me. And like, what do I have to say to the universe? It's like the universe is a mechanism. The universe is maneuvering based on the collective energy and how you participate in that collective energy. It's doing its own thing. It's your job to maneuver around it to find your way. It's your job to be intuitive and have discernment to maneuver and find the pathway around to where you need to be and away from to where you need not be. That's your job, not this universe's job to like all of a sudden reality morphs into what you said. That doesn't happen. That's not how reality works. And if it did, just think about all the people that are practicing the law of attraction, manifestation stuff. They're all doing it. If it worked, don't you think this planet would be a completely different planet by now? Don't you think there'd be like billionaires everywhere if it really worked the way people think it worked? They just thought something and reality just morphs to accommodate you? No. We're part of a collective energy, a collective current here. You are not the only energy that dictates everything in this reality. And so we understand that we can suffer less because many people suffer thinking that that's what they have to do. And they suffer because they're putting all these conditional aspects on their life and what they're feeling, what they have to experience, and they actually end up suffering in the process. I didn't say the right thing. I didn't do the right thing. I don't know if the universe is listening to me. I'm sorry, the universe doesn't have ears. Now, when I like to say things like I'm putting out into the universe, I'm like, let my voice echo so another energy can pick up on my energy. I'm sending signals to other energetic beings who are also intuitive and also that are looking for the same energy. So that's a little different if you want to attract people to people and send signals to people, because that's very much effective. There's a lot of people, we're all very much intuitive. You're unconscious of being intuitive. We're intuitive. But we don't follow that intuition, you will suffer because you will not find the right place. So remember, this is all choice. This is supposed to be a very easy conversation of like, oh, I'm not just allowing circumstances to be my benefit, to understand things do happen for a great reason for myself. And a lot of times your soul is saying, not yet, calm down. If you go now, things will be disastrous. Slow down a little bit. And the rush is just another example of you being in deprivation mode. And being conditional about what you need in your life, where actually were just once wants, but evolved into needs because you've been so depriving of yourself that the conditional aspects have become into necessities. And that's where the unfulfillment, the suffering, and the disappointment really manifests from that state. See, life is rather simple. Follow your passion, follow your intuition, follow your gut. Don't be conditional on what has to happen in order to make you feel a certain way. Just be that way now. Practice being that way. Practice just being in a good mood just because. Or practice just when you're feeling shitty, just practice talking yourself through it. Working things out. That's how you develop the fact of saying, you know what, I can never be disappointed because I'm actually maneuvering every circumstance. There's a current to reality. There's an up and a down. There's a roller coaster of emotions within me and of experience within me. So all I have to do is understand how to navigate that and how to understand each expression without judging the expressions. A lot of guys are judging. Oh, I shouldn't feel this way. Oh my God, I'm sad still, or this way. And the resistance creates more of you giving energy to that energy, those emotions, instead of coming to terms with emotions and then allowing yourself to emerge and blossom from it. If you have grief, you needed to have grief. If you have loss, you needed to have loss. If you have luck, you needed to have luck. If you have abundance, you need to have abundance. If you have love, you need to have love. Same thing. It's all things that you actually are ready for in your life. But the suffering comes from trying to detach yourself from your timeline because there's something wrong with your current timeline that somehow just quantum jumping into a new timeline is going to somehow solve everything because that's all the presents that I want. Really? Because if you overindulge all these presents, all the relationships that you want, then what are you left with after all that? If you're not coming from the state of desiring experience and wisdom and expansion of yourself, it all goes to shit. We see with our celebrities, they get their dreams, they chase that ladder, and then then they're all depressed, committing suicide, on drugs. They all go crazy because they got everything they could imagine in the physical sense, but there's not been one expansion of the soul, and it's like death. It's suffering. They suffer, right? So we need to understand that part of this, to understand, wait a minute, so I can just find the fulfillment now within myself. I can actually allow myself to be free from all that expectation right now. It's like, hell yeah, you can. Absolutely, you can. And then when you find your way, all the goodies are in the trajectory of when you actually are finding your own path and understand what your own path is. That's where all the goodness is. That's where all the blessings are. That's where the seamless, synchronous energy really is. That's where the understanding is. That's where the objectivity is. That's where the wisdom is. That's where the power is. And that's where the solitude is too, because then you understand in solitude, that's where you really start drawing things into your life and also starting to find the path of this beautiful, wonderful physical reality that we have that's laid out for us, that's ever changing in its pathways and trajectories, that we're allowing ourselves to merge and to maneuver around different trajectories in this ever-changing collective reality. I'm sorry, you don't alter reality with your mind. There's a collective purpose here. You're altering your perception of the reality in your mind, which can make you delulu and cray-cray, which lends up a lot of people on the streets talking to themselves. Embrace the physical. Embrace the solidity of physical reality. Embrace the collective creative energies that we have in this physical reality. You're not alone in this reality. I hate to break it to a lot of you guys who are in this manifestation shit. It ain't that way. Otherwise, if that's true, you would have skyrocketed into being a millionaire a long time ago. You'd have skyrocketed to the love of your life a long time ago. And everybody around you would be millionaires and billionaires too, if it was true. But it ain't. Free yourself from that bondage. Free yourself from those expectations. Free yourself from those conditional necessities. I'm telling you, this is where you actually start getting the conditions that you want. When you start focusing on that, you create the value. You express. And you understand, I can't be disappointed. I want to learn. I want to expand. I want to know more about myself. I want that power. Seek wisdom and power. Stop seeking things, and the life will completely change. And the life will be what we call joy. People also talk, you fuck joy. All these stupid cliche sounds. Joy, 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 joy. No one knows what the fuck joy is. You don't seek joy. Joy is a result. You seek wisdom and understanding and knowledge of the self. You seek that out, joy happens, manifests. It's not a goal. Being happy is not a goal. It's a result. So if you want the result of joy and happiness, you better start practicing more of that inner wisdom, because that in itself is joyful in itself. You're free. No suffering. Stop resisting the self. Stop resisting your path, your personalized individual path. And stop comparing conditions. Oh, my condition is bigger than yours. Their condition is bigger than mine. Ugh. That's suffering. You guys have the key to this. And you guys can end that today. That suffering can end today. It's a choice. That disappointment could end today. You could say to yourself, this is working in my favor. And if you don't believe that it's actually working in your favor, because a lot of guys are very mystical about manifesting things out of thin air, but then you don't want to think that spiritually this is working in your favor. Oh, I can't believe that. But I'll just go and think that things will manifest in thin air because I thought about it. Money's just going to happen. Wealth's going to just come in my life because I say so. That's irrational, mystical thinking. You can go there, but you can't go saying, everything in my life is working in my favor and it's part of my story, but that's not feasible to think about. Let's make reality and what actually is true feasible, and the bullshit not feasible. You will be free. And imagine if you just didn't have that deprivation of I want, I need, I want. Imagine being free from that. You feel free, at peace. It's like a clear energy that you're free to express and explore anything you'd like to. And all becomes fun. All becomes enjoyable. All becomes a learning curve. All becomes interesting. That's the point. And if you miss that point in life, you will be glued to your phones, as most of society is, glued to your technology, glued to your face. Your lips aren't big enough. I'm not getting enough tension. The lips got to be this big. I'm 6 years old because I have to have DSLs. Oh, my butt's not big enough, or my butt's too big. You're just hyper-focused. It's not big enough. My skin isn't pressed tight enough, and I'm not young enough. That's suffering. And many people like to make fun of these people with their deformed faces from surgery. I'm like, that person's suffering. Hardcore. The need for attention, I'm like, that person is suffering. Hardcore. It's sad to me. And I'm more upset about the doctors who actually do those things, right? There's the doctors who actually perform that and put people through that. It's sad. They're suffering. They're knowing people screaming for attention, faking illnesses online. Screaming for attention. They're suffering. What's the cause of that suffering? Conditional need. Conditional need. And that conditional need is masking self-expression. And that's the problem. That's the trap. And we see that in our society. And I see many people like, right when they have a challenging situation, they grab their phone, they start scrolling their phone, they just detach. They can't confront the challenging situation. Just like finger fucking the screen, like I say. Just like, I can't attach. Observe this, guys. Observe this and understand that's suffering. And if I'm catching myself in these modalities, I'm suffering. And what am I suffering on? Let me get myself out of suffering and change and free myself from that bondage. Start living for the feeling, not for the getting. Start living from the being, not from the receiving. Okay? Because there's a give and take in the ebb and flow of reality. You give, receive, give, receive. It's a cycle. But if you ain't giving nothing, why are you sitting there with your arms open, ready to receive when you're not giving anything or expressing anything? Ebb and flow. You want to receive, you better be a giver. And if you want to give, you better be willing to receive. Same thing. You better find that balance, a duality. That's why I chose this background today, but the duality. Because it's the resistance of hovering in just one side or the other side is what creates the suffering. When you embrace the duality of both sides, that's peace and balance and understanding. It merges into wholeness. You're whole. So we need to be very conscious about these tricks and traps in our society. Because a lot of them are just modalities that create more suffering. Politics, suffering. The two-party system paradigm, suffering. The money market system, suffering. Taxation, suffering. I can go on. We're signing it away, though. We're saying, oh, but we got to do this, though. The politicians have told me, have sold me that we have to do this, though, because of empathy. Road to hell is paid to good intentions, and we're starting to see that road to hell being paid. A lot of people are starting to see it now. Hopefully it's waking people up. Live for how you feel. People are waking up to this, though. And here's the positive end. People are waking up to this. People are starting to recognize this. People are starting to see this political bullshit. People are starting to recognize they all talk a good talk, but when they get in, they're always doing something that's more about their own self-interests. It's all about the minority. One part is all about the minorities. The other part is about patriots. It's the same crap, different package. And so we have to stop with this fear-mongering. It always works. Always something new. They keep you on edge. They pull a new card out that's going to put you in fear that this is going to be the end of the world. This is going to be the end of the world. This is going to be the end of the world. This is going to be the end of the world. They keep pulling the same card out in different wrappers. They've been saying it's the end of the world since 1999. Oh my God, 2000 come out. All the computers are going to crash. Did that happen? No. The meteors are coming. The meteors are coming. Did that happen? No. The rapture's coming. The rapture's coming. In this date, that date, this, that, 2020, 2010, 20 this. Does it ever happen? No. Let's snap out of that. That's suffering. To be controlled and manipulated by suggestion. These politicians know this. They know people are just too stupid, whatever they say they're going to believe and follow. That's why 80% of Americans are overweight and obese because they eat McDonald's and fast food because they're told it's healthy. So let's start taking a step back here, because the more we're deprived of even wisdom and knowledge, we're going to rely on the physical things to make us happy. And then that's a big old trap. We're collectively on a mission for a reason. And I know the collective mission is we're going to expand and break down a lot of modalities, and things are going to be break down. I wrote about this on my blog, on my website, probably back in 2014. I wrote about, systems collapsing, systems failing, a whole redo. Right? Monetary system clashing. They want to push digital currency. But I've talked about this over 10 years ago that they're planning for this. And I'm starting to see all of that happen. And I said cryptocurrency is just a guinea pig for people to get used to digital currencies. So when they switch over, it's in people's consciousness. We got to look at history and look where it's going to. Look at the complete trajectory so we understand, so we don't fall into these patterns of suffering and disappointment and being misled. So I think these are great times. I still feel like, May is still going to be a financial boom for whatever reason. I'm not giving any person credit for this. I'm giving us the credit because we're learning and we're responding differently to things than we have been before. And so we're getting out of our suffering. We're tired of suffering. We're starting to recognize we've been choosing our own suffering. That's breaking the chains. That's being free. So, So just remember this, guys. Ask yourselves, what suffering am I choosing for myself? What loops am I in that are just suffering that I can just choose to just step out of? It is that simple. It might take you time to nurture and process it, but it's that freaking simple. Let's not make it difficult. Let's not overly mystify and intellectualize these simple principles here. Okay? And I'll tell you this too, processing. Why did he do this? Why did they do this? Wondering why someone did something? That's suffering. You're never going to understand why someone did something that you just don't agree with or understand. It's not going to happen to you until you evolve and become objective. And by the time you become objective, no one would bother you. You wouldn't care. You're like, oh, whatever, moving on. But if you're in a position, you're not objective enough to understand. Stop trying to figure out why somebody did something to you. The result is all you need to carry on. If they abuse you, that's all you need to know. But why though? But do they love me? But it doesn't matter why they abuse you. That's the result. Move on. Until you can summon the internal wisdom for yourself to understand why things are objectively and collectively happening, then you can. You're like, well, that's why they did it. So, and you wouldn't have a reaction to it. But a lot of you guys got to save yourself the hassle and stop asking yourself why and move along. Because if someone murdered their whole family and was cannibals, are you going to sit there and wonder, what? Well, why? Why? Or you just be like, oh, that's gross. And no, that's not good. What are you going to do? Does knowing why they did it make it any different? For objective people, it might be interesting and intriguing. For me, it's always fascinating to understand people's psychology or perspectives. But if you're not equipped to handle it, move along. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't support you. It doesn't give to you. Go along. Stop putting yourself in suffering mode. Well, why? Just understand it is and call it a day and move forward and move on and allow yourself to expand from it. I see a lot of people staying in suffering because they just don't understand why. I don't understand why they cursed me. I don't understand why they ghosted me. So I need to know why. It's like they ghosted you. That is an explanation. They stole from you. That's an explanation. That's a reason right there. So focus on pleasure. So focus on pleasure. Focus on pleasure. Focus on things, your passions. Focus on you expressing yourself. And I'm being very, very hard about this, amplifying the dark negative aspects of this, because I really feel like we have to be clear about that. The positive energy behind this is acknowledging such and exposing such. You expose it. And I see a lot of people, it's interesting. People who follow me and people who leave comments, then follow me. Then I start seeing some of their things on my social medias. And I had this one woman that was, and one individual, I would say, and it's quite a few of them, always quick to say, that wasn't positive how you said that. That wasn't nice how you said that. But then I watched them on their social media pages, what they're posting is this negative and dirty. Right? Discriminatory or expressing bigotry, right? Not being empathetic for all people. But they want to come and comment on my section about how I'm not being positive enough in my approach. But then they're posting bigotry and discriminatory things about people. I see you. It's transparent. And that is very transparent. And it is time now that I start calling that behavior out in the collective, because other people need to see the hypocrisy of people who are being damaged by that hypocritical people. Because a lot of people who are hypocritical this way, a lot of guys are suffering because of what these people are saying and how they're judging, critiquing you, right? And so what I'm trying to say to you is, it's good to expose that so you understand, what are you so hurt by what these people are saying? They're hypocrites. They have nothing better to do. They're selfish, right? And so you shouldn't allow yourself to suffer because what someone else has said to you and how someone else has judged you for something. Because again, I've heard this growing up in high school. When you point fingers at someone, there's 4 pointing back at you, right? This one's always in the air. I always say 4. They say, 4, but I say 3 because, you point a finger, unless you go like this, but this one's kind of pointing down. But whatever. You point one finger at someone, there's 3 pointing back at you. It's projection. And I see that a lot, the hypocrisy. People want to just be vocal. They don't comment on positive things, some of these people. They don't leave a positive message when there's a positive statement. Only with something that triggers them and it's not good for them, but they can post all these triggering things and spread all this triggering garbage. I just saw something like that today. So I see you people. And I will acknowledge you people. And the next time it becomes public, I will make it public. I will post it on my shows. I will post it and take those comments and make it public. I think it's time we start exposing this behavior, the hypocrisy, because there's so many people I see starting into the spiritual communities or new to spiritual communities who are affected by these hypocritical idiots. You know, these two-faced morons, right? And so for me, I want to have people who are maybe not as strong as understanding that or being objective to know someone is deterring them away from that garbage. So bring on the comments, bring on the messages about how you think I'm not being kind enough to you, because I'll take your post and message to me and combine it with the posts that you're doing on your own pages. I might even turn that into a segment. And call that, maybe that's my frisky side. I don't care. It needs to be exposed. And these things need to be called out, because I dealing with that with religion, with my life. So that's maybe a personal mission of mine. People deal with that religion, the hypocrisy. People who damned me and put me to conversion therapy were actually gay themselves. That whole crap, right? So I have a personal mission about doing so. So you want to challenge me? Bring it on. Challenge me. So, I think we're going to end it there because I want to get into my beautiful readings. But again, guys, stand strong. You have the choice. Do you want to suffer? Do you want people to be the cause of your happiness or suffering? Hell the fuck no. Who are they? Say to yourself today, I'm choosing to make my experience. And I'm choosing to allow myself to see how I'm reacting to my experience. Just grow from it, to get more power from that. There's no disappointment in my future. There's no suffering in my future. I don't choose it. I don't choose to dwell. I choose to understand and to take every circumstance in my life as a way that's going to benefit me. I'm going to deem it so, and watch what happens. And I've been on both sides of the spectrums, guys. I've been on both sides of the spectrum. That's why I talk about this. I've been in the spectrum where it's like I was bound to the circumstances and nothing was happening in favor. And then I've also experienced this other half of my life of just being the dictator of everything's happening for me. And I'm growing from this experience and I get what I want. I'm in the space I want to be. I'm always happy and content and never seeking things that I don't have as a necessity. It all aligns at the right time and I'm in sync with my timeline. Y'all want to be sync with your timeline. You all want to be in sync with the purposes in your timeline. That's so fulfilling. Reach for that fulfillment and watch what happens. Y'all have it. A lot of you guys are doing great work on that. A lot of you guys are on the cusp of doing that and just need a little push and reminder to do that. And so, and I think it's a wonderful thing this day and age to call out poor behavior. It needs to be done because you don't want to address someone for doing something doesn't mean you're being empathetic, love and light bullshit. Call it out. Christ called it out. Yeshua called it out. Yeshua called it bad behavior. When they were bartering in the temple, he kicked their asses. He didn't say, please leave. Love and light. Peace be with you. He's like, get the hell out of there. Throw them out. And we need to have that and actually present and express that energy too, because we need to stand firm on what is true and stand firm on what is correct. If we don't, then we just allow ourselves and the truth to be trampled on. And I'm seeing a lot of that happening in the spiritual communities, in politics, and we need to stand firm that the truth is not going to be trampled on despite what people are projecting and what they're putting on other people and what they're saying or not. Period. Done deal. Moving on. Okay, let's see let's go get into the live readings. I kind of felt a rant. Was it coming? But guys, I'm over the nonsense. It's time to evolve out of this. I think we've been, in that phase for a long time. I mean, the Kardashian bullshit, I'm surprised it lasted as long as it lasted. That's a sign of our culture, right? Either the Kardashian thing, give them like 3 or 4 years and they're off. No, they've been around for almost 15, 20 years. People are revering them. Oh my God, the Kardashians. Oh my God. You know what I mean? So, no, we have to start reanalyzing certain things. And those of you guys who know this need to start speaking up too. Guys, we got to start calling out this behavior, whether it's at work, whether it's at friendships and all stuff. Stop trying to keep the peace. That's not love and light. Love and light is standing up for the truth. Even if you're the bad guy, that's love and light, actually. It's like, you know, when you're raising children, do you try to keep the peace with your children because you just want to be the good guy, or you love them so much that you have to be firm to them about what is true for them so they stand on what's correct? You don't bend over backwards as a parent. So why the hell would you do that in your everyday life with normal people and your friends and people that love you and that you love them? Just like, I just got to keep the peace. Call it out and move on. You don't have to stay embedded with it, but call it out. At least gives a person who's doing things unconsciously, who are suffering unconsciously, the ability to recognize, oh shit, was I doing that? It might snap them out of their unconscious haze. Understand you're setting them free by doing so. There's so many people just in loops, guys, suffering in loops. I don't mean to extend this, but there's so many people suffering in loops, and you're calling out that behavior, being stern with that behavior, snap them out of a loop. Oh gosh, did I do that? Got to be firm. And you guys don't like firm. Those who walk around thinking firm, you got to be love and light with everything, that's not going to last for you very long. Especially when I see a lot of you love and light people cursing at people in the comment sections. I see it. Hypocrites. It's transparent. Everything you do in line, you leave in foot tracks to what you're doing online. We see those things. I love how YouTube now, when you leave a comment, YouTube will show you all the comments that you left on other pages or similar pages, that page. Love it. I love it. I think someone in the Serious Joy community was critiquing my appearance yet again. And I'm just like, how disgusting are you to have to... And I said, all your comments are just disgusting and nasty. It must be very painful to be that nasty. It must hurt to be that nasty. I mean, you must be in so much pain to have so much nasty energy that you want to inflict on somebody else. I said, I feel bad for that. You might want to look at that, you know? So we got to call it out, but we have to call it in the essence of the similar energy, the similar intensity of that energy, because they won't get it. They don't get it. People go, oh, I love you. It's okay. They're not in that modality to understand that energy. Hit it back. You're nasty. That's nasty. I feel bad for you that you're so nasty. They'll get it in that similar equivalent energy, guys. All right. Let's get to the topics. All right. Okay, let's go here and see what we have going on here. You guys are great. We have no card pulls today. I freaking love it. That's going to make my life a lot easier today. You so nasty. And my message today is, guys, I want to set you free from all that stuff. I'm just here. I want to set you free from all that stuff. And to me, setting you free from that is the love. I want to see you guys breaking all those chains. I want to see you guys. I'm actually writing a song about that, actually. See you guys free from all that stuff. All right, let me get the readings. There's a lot here, and I don't want to keep people waiting any longer. All right, first up, Felicia. What happened to my sister? Does she want to get out of that situation? Can you be more specific about this, Felicia, about what happened to your sister? Does she want to get out of that situation? What do you mean, what happened to your sister? Are we talking about relationship? What are you talking about? Let me see if I can just pick up at a general vibe with your sister. It's hard because I don't even see you and then I don't see her, but I have to I can do it. It just takes more time to focus. Yeah, I mean, it feels like first thing I got with this was more of like a domestic drama or home drama or something of that nature, you know? And so I think that again, that, you know, it feels like there's a lot of chaos with the home life. I heard domestic. So whether it's actually a domestic situation issue with relationship or domestic as far as her living circumstance, I just feel something close to home is out of whack. And I feel like that, yes, she wants to get out of this situation, but she can't, right? So she's got a lot to carry. She's got a lot on her back. So, but she also feels very stubborn. You know, so I don't know if like she's gonna like take your word or take your advice on things. I think that she just kind of watch and just try to inspire as much as you can, you know, with her. But it feels like a very chaotic, fragmented situation. But in time, you know. But I feel like she wants to leave the situation, but she can't. I don't know if there's legalities or some nature of just emotional connections. She's suffering, right? So. But I don't think there's a lot of things I don't feel like she even wants to express about what's happened to her, or what's happening to her, you know? So, So yeah, my chat is frozen on my screen. Why is that? Thank you, Nina, for saying that. Let me see if I do this again. There we go. I had to refresh it. Yeah, the chat was frozen on my screen for such a long time. Like, that sucks. And maybe people who watch live don't see that. But then they're going to think, no one's chatting in my room. There's so many chats in the room. But that's how I feel about that, Felicia. So I would just like, guide her accordingly. But again, understand she's going to be kind of resistant, to what you're saying. But I feel like there is a pull to want to get out. All right, next is Kristen. Kristen V. I won't say your last names. One question. She says, I recently started posting funny videos of me attempting things that end in disastrous funny ways because I'm a klutz. I figured, why not share the laughter? Do you see this helping me this year in my random endeavors? Well, I think this is leading you to be comfortable with being on camera. This is leading you to be comfortable about posting and expressing. So it has nothing to do with the clumsy stuff, but I feel like this is almost like boot camp to train you to be able to present and do things on a social media format. So I feel like that's going to help you, because then this funniness thing will lead to something new and something else. So to me, it doesn't feel temporary. It doesn't feel like some sort of thing, some sort of shtick that you did and whatever. It feels like it will lead you to be able to be comfortable enough to be expressing yourself and putting yourself out there. So it's more about the emotional gain that you're getting from this that will lead into a newer expression, a better expression. It's almost getting rid of this kind of insecurity of doing so. So in a sense, you're kind of taking a piss on yourself, saying, well, if I can take a piss on myself and, and put it out there, then it's all good. Then I can do anything else. Right. And so I will say this, back when I was younger, I had bathroom anxiety and I didn't want to go to the bathroom in public. And, I also didn't want people knowing my bathroom business. And so I'm like, I want to get past this. Like, who cares? And so I remember one time I just went in the bathroom, I'm going to get over it. And I go, woo, I dropped a bomb in there. Like, I try to draw attention to myself, to humiliate myself, to be comfortable with the fact that it wasn't so bad. Right? Like, okay, now I can go to the bathroom and don't have like public bathroom anxiety anymore. I'm like, I can go. It's not a big deal. So same thing here. I think you're subconsciously trying to draw attention to yourself and look at me, I'm being clumsy, ha ha ha, to get comfortable with that, to understand it's not so bad. And then that gives you more of a comfortability to express that social media aspect of yourself in a different way moving forward. So yeah. Whatever camera, social media, whatever the case. Again, if you're doing funny videos of yourself, that's the camera, my love. Where's the phone? The phone is a camera. If you're recording yourself, that's a camera. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like I said before, you're afraid of public speaking. It makes more of a point. That yes, it's preparing you intellectually to present and express yourself in front of a group of people, and you're just doing it in a way that's kind of clumsy. Okay, does that make sense, Kristen? Are you listening to Iggy? Or is he distracting you? Understand that, because I think it's important, because I think it's going to get you out of the comfort, or get you in, or no. Make you more comfortable. I say get you out of comfort zone, but get you more comfortable about being on camera or being in front of people. We'll say that in that context. Get that? Do you get it? Got it? Good. Okay, there you go. Okay. Well, actually, no, my chat was frozen again. All right. Sydney says, will I be successful in getting a psych evalu ordered on my ex? Do you see him hospitalized between now and the end of summer? No. Why are you doing this? Let it go. Don't dig too much on this, Sydney. And what you need to be doing is, if something occurs with the children, then you make a note of it. Deliver it legally. The whole psych evaluation and getting him hospitalized, that stuff, no, you're embedding yourself too much with all that, my love. You're embedding yourself too much in that. Co-parent, let the mediator do the mediation, and that's it. Move along. You don't have to deal with it any longer. And if he does something in your presence with your children, you report it. Period. Keep it simple. You're still trying to dig too much. Remember our last conversation, the whole point is navigating. You have a mediator, now you don't need to focus and worry about it. You focus on yourself, your children, and you make sure that the children are not making reports, making any claims, you report any type of claims. That's what you do. Let that all be taken care of by the by legalities. But he's not going to exit. You know, this is your karmic lesson to understand how to let go and stop digging and allow yourself to release yourself from your own suffering. Again, your constant evaluation with him and his even indirect influence on you is keeping you in suffer mode. You're in suffering mode with this. You got to detach from this. And no, I don't feel like this whole psych evaluation is going to be ordered or anything like that. You know, I don't think that's even, it's too out there. It says he left them home alone at 10 p.m. while he went to the doctor. Well, you make a claim about that, my love. Make a claim. Say my children were left home alone at 10 p.m. Make a claim. File a claim. Right? Be diligent in that way. Let his own current behaviors that is reasonable be what hangs himself, so to speak, right? Figuratively speaking. Document that. You know? Of course you didn't go to the doctor at 10 p.m. Of course not. I mean, just saying. But document this. Report it. That's what you have to do now. Then you'll probably have different actions. We don't have to go through psych evaluation, all this war stuff. When something comes up, report it. Simple. Let life handle it. Let life be in charge. But you got to stop being so immersed in this and so saturated in it. Perfect. Then that's all you do, and keep going through with that. And the more negligence you have, and you start calling, making these complaints, then there needs to be reevaluation whether or not it's safe enough for the children to be around him. So do it properly, But you reach and try to get a psych evaluation and get him hospitalized. That's not going to happen. That's really, it's jumping far out there. He's just, again, too, my love. He's just a drunk. So I don't think many people are going to force psych evaluation on someone who's just a drunk and a belligerent drunk. That's his choice, be a belligerent drunk. But you have to make sure those behaviors aren't affecting your children. Then you can actually report that and it'll work in your favor. So that's going too deep with it, my love. You got to disassociate yourself to a certain degree, I know, but you know what I'm saying? He's not in the right frame of mind because of his addictions, his substance abuse. I know, I just said that. As I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, substance abuse, whatever, all that above, all the above. But you know this, my love. You know this. You're still fighting to prove that he's this way. You already know this. All you need to understand is when he just steps out of line with your children, you report it. You're calling the cops. Period. Done deal. You don't need to keep proving and reveling. He's this, he's that, he's crazy, he's this and that. It goes this. You know this. It's nothing new. Disassociate yourself. You have a mediator. Complain to them too, saying, he did this at 10 a.m. How is this happening? Who's watching, taking care of this? Report it. Report it. Report it. That's being diligent. That's being productive. Otherwise, you're suffering during this process because you can't get over how he is. You can't get over how he behaves. That's not changing. But what needs to change is how you handle it. I'm talking to you like a brother right now, firmly, because you're so overly saturated in his behavior. I want to see you pull away from that. Because what happens is, love, then you allow spirit to intervene when you do. Then you allow spirit to intervene, and then he'll do something that'll hang himself. You have to take your hands off, your energetic hands off. Take those energetic hands off. We get it, you loathe them, you get it. Why do you have to keep re-emphasizing it? Get out of that loop. I loathe them, I loathe them, I loathe them. You get it. Do you want to stay in the state of loathing? So again, report it with the children. I don't care what you have to do and how you report it. Call the cops. I don't care. And you make sure your kids keep on par. If dad leaves, let me know. Text me, phone, whatever. Send me a message. If dad leaves you alone, text me. And then you fucking call whoever you have to call. So, but you have to energetically separate yourself and disassociate yourself from his behavior and his energy, what you hate, because it's making you become the person that's not thinking rationally. And you're going to end up sabotaging yourself and making decisions that will take you away from your children, which you don't want to do. You don't want to do that. Because if you keep letting this build, my love, what's going to happen is you're going to, at some point, flip and do something you'll regret to him, and then you're locked up and then separate from your children. Do you want it to build this way? And this is not to put fear in you, but it kind of is to put fear in you a little bit if you continue to amplify this contentious hate energy that you already know how he is, you know he's expressing himself. You'll get yourself to that point, and that's not going to be good. Because then your children will have who left? Please disassociate yourself. You know how he is. You know you loathe him. You don't need to be rolling around in that mud any longer. You don't need to be rolling around. I hate him. You get it. Find ways. What am I to do to make sure my kids are safe? And that's all I'm focusing on. Period. Got the mediator. Report him from leaving the kids home at 10 a.m. And if he leaves them home again or has people around that have the kids tell you or text you while they're there, and report it while it's happening. Be diligent. You can't stay in this contentious energy. It's going to eat you, and it's going to have you make a decision about doing something that's going to, backfire on you. Don't go there. Don't go there. I'm sorry. You got to be firm with this, my love. Reach out to me. If something happens again, reach out to me, text me, right? Because you're going to need someone who's going to be almost like a bumper for you. Like, no, stop, nope, stop. You're going to need that. You need that because sometimes it's not being philosophical. Sometimes not a psychic prediction. Like so many people here, I need a psychic prediction. That's going to solve my problems. Like, no, your problem is your behavior, right? You need someone who's going to help you. Like, no, stop, nope. You need that. Someone to pull you away every single time. And so you text me, you reach out to me. If you're starting having one of those modes, I got to pull you away from it. Nope, don't do it. Nope. That's what a lot of people need that. And they don't even have that. A lot of people. They just need someone to pull them away or just be a bumper in their life. And so you need a bumper. And right now I'm trying to bump you out of that nonsense. And I'm so, the 12 years I've been doing readings, I am so shocked how 80% of my readings, I have to demystify things for people. I'm the psychic medium here. I'm the mystic here. And I'm having to demystify things for people 90% of the time. You know what that's telling me? We have a mental health issue in this country, in this world. Well, I don't know what the therapists are doing or not doing. They're not hitting people on and people leave their therapist to come to me. I'm like, what is going on in this fucking world that I have to demystify in my own career, my own practice things for people because they're not getting what they need intellectually or not getting the support that they need from people in their lives. Like in this case, just a bumper. You got my, Sydney, you got my number. You fucking text me. I'm telling you. You text me. Because I'll be that bumper. I'm like, don't you fucking do it again because you're not going to be on freaking the news. Be like, you did something or something that you regret. Don't do it. You're too good for that. You are too good. You're too good for. Is your feet stuck too? Yours too. Let me see. I think it's things have been acting weird. Hold on a second. You're too good for this, Sydney. You're too good. You have so much wisdom, intellect, perception on things. You're so wise in life. You don't need that. You don't need his energy. You don't need him to control you even in his absence. Remember this. He controlled you in his presence. Do not let him control you in his absence. Okay? My partner's a psychotherapist, and then I think we want to do something collectively too. But you got this. You text me. Make sure I'm, as your soul brother. Okay? I love you, and I think you're amazing. And that's where the passion comes from because you're freaking amazing. Too amazing. All right. Next question. Tara Matisse, and I know Sydney and I, we will carry on with this personally. Because I know, sweetheart, and I love you. I think you're fucking fantastic. And you got this. But you need a strong male energy in your life too. One that's going to really stick up for you. Sometimes we just need those things. sometimes we just need a mother energy or nurturing energy. Sometimes we just need a brother energy. Sometimes we just need a masculine male energy. You know, and so obviously I'm here in your life, Sydney, to do that. Okay? All right. Before I get carried on and emotional. Tara Matisse, or Tara M, sorry. If I started a dream interpretation business on the side, would that be beneficial for me to do? No, you need to go into healing. Tara. You need to do healing work. You know, I mean, it's good if you offered that. I definitely don't want to ever like deprive someone to do something. I just don't see that being the success. What I see being the success is the healing aspects. You know, the holistic aspects. That whole thing for you, I feel that being the success of it all. Body healing, all that stuff of that nature. The dream interpretation, maybe that's a little side thing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little side, thing that you do. But again, focus on the healing. Keep it simple. But I just don't see that to being the success. It is your success being hands-on with people, the healing, holistic healing, whether it be even through the physical body or even just with holistic foods and so forth. That stuff, I think it's great. All right, but push it. But always understand when you have an idea, don't scrap it, but also don't make it the main center either, right? I think that might be something you can offer additionally, right? So I hope that makes sense. All right. Next question is for Chase R. Give me a second here because the question didn't load. Chase R, you didn't put the question in. Are you here? Nina, can you find Chase, see if he's in the chat, if he's in the room? And he didn't leave the question in the PayPal. So if he can put it in the chat, maybe. So can you get on that for me, Nina? Is it frozen? Y'all here? And thank you, Tina. I appreciate that. That's sweet. I want you guys to know too, while we wait for Chase's question, is that my passion is because I've been there. I've been there, and everything I talk about, I've experienced both sides on. I don't talk about stuff I don't know about. If I'm watching football, I keep my mouth shut. I don't know. If you're talking about, I know a lot about the universe, with things I don't know much about. I know music. I'm just trying to think of things I don't really know a lot about. There's a lot. I just can't, nothing's comes to my head. There's a lot of things I don't know a lot about. I just keep my mouth shut. I listen. But the things I speak about, I experience on both polarities. So I know, and I've overcome them or came to the realization of mastering them. So it's taken me 43 years. That's why I'm just starting YouTube 2 years ago. But I've been doing my work for 12 years. But it's taken me a long enough time to be able to do it in this format. But please understand, that's where the passion comes from. But a lot of people need motivation. A lot of people need a strong energy to lift you up, right? To lift people up, not the weak thing. But okay, what is the question? Let me see for Chase. What do I need to know about releasing one of my contract gigs and biggest source of income to devote more time and energy to my own business? I'm planning in the coming weeks. What do you need to know about your relationship releasing one of the contract gigs? What do you need to know about that? I'm trying to think. What I mean, you're asking for confirmation on that? Like, if it's good to release that gig, let me see, because I guess the question I need to look at is timing of the Page of Cups. That's a good sign. Page of Cups is good. You're juggling too much, so I think releasing this is a good sense of focus. I don't think that it's going to inhibit you from making more money. I feel like reinvesting into your own business, your own independence. And if you just asked me about business, I probably would have saw that. But no, I feel like, especially with the 10 of, this just fell out. So the 10 of Wands, Spirit saying like, that's just too much burden, that one gig. but phase it accordingly. But I think your timing of transitioning is rather on point. So even the Chariot card is like all about perfect timing, perfect movement. It's a regal movement, right? So no, you got to focus on your own self and be more practical. King of Pentacles is all about practicality. So this is more practical for you to be doing this way. It makes more sense in the long run, and so, whatever you've been doing for work now, I think it just feels you carry too much without the rewards of such, I don't know whether they're saying like new literature. So perhaps you'll be getting into new literature, or you're studying new literature, or find new literature that will help to assist with this entrepreneurial, business-minded aspect, right? I don't know. You might be doing something with books too. You might be doing something with literature too. Like, make a note of that. That might be something that happens in the future, and you're kind of like, I heard this weird guy and this weird fucking site guy online said something about literature, but like, then maybe somehow you're packaging something with literature or some sort of aspect, or turning something to ebooks. I don't know. Just make a note of this. It makes sense later about this like literature aspect with your own business, what you're doing with your own company. Okay, that makes sense. Because they show you like packaging books, but like maybe you do series. Maybe you create a series of something, So, but yes, they're just saying you're reinvesting. You're investing your time in this gig to get money, but you're investing your time and energy in your own business in order for you to like expand and make more money in the future and become free. So they're just saying, understand your phasing process during the time. Understand the physicality of how your monetary aspects will sustain. You don't want to leap without looking, right? Or leap without, planning. Make sure you understand how your financial, situation will be. Just understand the logistics, physical logistics. But this is definitely reads as the perfect transition and the time to start making that process for sure. And the King of Pentacles to me is someone that's very good in finance too. So we say practicality, but I also feel like your practicality in doing what's best for you right now will also render you very good financial rewards too. Good investments. So, but yeah, so there's the validation is like, hell yeah, So I like the Magician card. You get the cards are speaking to you today. I don't know what the cards are, but they're kind of confirming what I'm saying. Magician card is saying like you're in creative mode right now. Go with that creative energy. When we're in creative mode, we can manifest. That is that word that I don't like. We can manifest things a lot easier because our karma's free. We made the change. We're following on purpose. So then we can start aligning things a lot quicker. You're in that mode. So take advantage of that energy. All right, Chase? Good stuff. Feels good. The good ones, the good reads, I almost don't want to stop. So. All right, next is Sherry. PMT for reading. Okay. My question is around my health. I've been exhausted and unmotivated and have gained weight this year and having trouble releasing it. What do you see the cause and what to do? Start changing. I'm starting to feel fearful. It's more serious. Let me see, Sherry. No, this is emotional, my love. This isn't physical. I mean, the physical stuff is reacting to emotional. Circulation is poor too. Circulation is no bueno. But this is emotional. You're not purging something. And I feel like this is related to a mother energy. You got to purge something. This is emotional. It's almost like anxiety has taken over to where it's depleted you of your own energy. So therefore, when we're deprived of energy, then we just want to we don't move. We stay static. We consume more emotional weight, physical weight, and then, of course, that will start running physical difficulties. But I don't think you're purging something that has to do with the mother energy. And I think you're holding on to certain things in that nature. That needs to go. This is emotional. And it feels guilt wrapped in, like judgment. So perhaps you maybe felt judged for things in your life. And so there's guilt wrapped around that, and so I think a lot of that is just like not being able to move on. And like an overly sense of responsibility, like too much responsibility, pressure, encumbered emotional weight, then physical weight. There's too much of that going on. You can't be responsible for everybody else around you, nor can you feel bad if you can't measure up to what people think that you need to do for them or not do for them, or whatever. And so, and that can't freeze, you can't be frozen in time because of that either. So, this is emotional. This is emotional. Sherry says, spot on, my mom has dementia and has been hard this year. Yeah. And it's more than just with the dementia. It's also what's previous from your mom's dementia too. Of things you might have inherited. Not to say she's bad or anything, or contention, or contentious energy, just patterns they've inherited, again, that'll never end. The whole guilt, where's your threshold? So those of you guys who are very empathetic and say, I need to do more, where you create a threshold, because you can't have this loop of, I need to keep doing more, there's got to be an end to that. There's got to be a threshold to this. Set your threshold to what's realistic. Because if you don't have the time to focus on the self, at some point you won't be able to help them at all. Right? Let's be simple about it, right? Let's be very psychology 101 about it. If you're giving too much, you don't look out for yourself, then you crumble, then you will not have any time, energy, or physical well-being to assist anyone. You know what I'm saying? So, well, there you go. Right? Slap me silly and call me psychic, right? Because it's true, that judgment, like I said, judgment and guilt wrapped up in two, like I said in the beginning, coming from the mom energy. So there you go. So, now it's like she's sick. Oh, now I have to do more. And then she doesn't have a vocal limitation of what you have to do. So like you're going to be stuck in this endless loop. And my love, she's not going to remember anyways what you did. You can do so much for her. She won't remember. Do you see your challenge here that you're faced with karmically? She was a source of your guilt, source of being responsible. Here she has dementia. So now you're in a loop of, now she can't tell me to what degree I have to be there for her. And whatever I do for her, she's going to forget anyways. Oh my God. Right? Never ending loop. There's no boundary. There's no limit to it. That's why you're sick. That's why you're having issues with weight. That's why you're not feeling well. So you got to purge that and set a threshold. I can help her, but what is necessary? And what time do I have for myself? Right? I think soon too. Oh, I can't, my dad. That is a good one, actually. Wait a second. Hold on a second. I accidentally rubbed ketchup on my eyes and now I have hindsight. This is my father. Dad jokes. My dad's been doing dad jokes since I was 4. So I can't stand it. Are you even up? It's past your bedtime, Dad. It's 7:30. You should be sleeping by now. Okay. Sydney, I love you. Have a good night. You have this. Okay? You got this. Passion's love for you. I got your back. I'm here for you. Okay, Sydney? Reach out. I got your back. You have someone here to rely on. Someone at least to vent to. Okay, Sydney? Know that. Okay, but back to Sherry, right? I was talking to before. Yeah, Sherry. She said, my dad died and she can't stop grieving, which hurts so much. I know, my love, but let her grieve. Let her do what she has to do. Okay? Let her do what she has to do. You can't control how she's experiencing things, especially with her mental state. But Wheel of Fortune card and 4 of Wands. I got to move on to the next question. This thing, there will be change though. New home is coming, a new house, focusing on home. So there'll be a change, and I think there'll be a new start coming with a new house, new home, or move or something of that nature in time. And so I think that you'll start feeling you're in your own space again. So that's not me doing a death prediction, but it's just saying that that's around the corner too, that there is some change coming. And so just work through this karma. Oh my God, work through this karma, okay, Sherry? And then we have Linda here saying, haha, it took me a minute to catch up to that joke. Ha 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 ha. Oh my God, you guys are so funny. Sorry, Sherry, for the humor in between that, Sherry. But maybe you need more humor, my love. I think that the timing of the interjection of jokes is, I think it's good. Remember, break up the monotonous of like, I gotta help. Break up the monotony. Have some enjoyment in there. She moves into a new assisted home. Okay, perfect. That's gonna be great on you. That's gonna be so good on you. You're gonna feel so much better. I'm telling you. So much better when that happens. Space to breathe. Okay. You got this, my love. My heart goes out to you. It goes to her empathic. I get it. I totally get it. And your hearts need to be utilized in a more productive, beneficial way to those who really need it, And right now, Sherry, you need it right now. You need your own heart right now for you right now. Remember this. Don't let it sound cliche. Don't underestimate the energy or power behind that. Your heart needs to be with you. And balance it out. Set your threshold. Literally set that threshold. Don't just be all outbox. You can't. You'll destroy yourself. When was the last time your mom has done that for you? Has your mom been all outbox to you? Has your mom just been unconditionally giving to you all the time? Or she been critical since day one and, not really giving enough to you? So why are you thinking that you just have to shower her with what she hasn't presented to the world? Right? Reclaim that power back. And I'm glad she'll be moving out, and then you'll have this assisted living is going to be so much better for you. You'll need that space. Okay. Andy, does Winter have any message for us? And how will she show she's present in spirit? Feels good seeing your live again after vacation. I didn't go on vacation. Oh, you were on vacation. Okay. It's like, I was on vacation. Shit, I need a vacation. Yeah, you guys had a vacation. It looked beautiful. Andy and Tara went to Sedona. We were Sedona, right? It looked like Sedona. Beautiful pictures, by the way. So I hope you guys did have a great vacation. Winter. Did you spread ashes or something? With Winter, do you spread Winter's ashes or want to spread ashes or something? Because I feel like she's saying you're spreading the ashes or releasing the ashes or something of that nature. Do you do this? And there's something about a black hawk or a black bird as a symbol. Maybe you saw one recently. But maybe you want to spread Winter's ashes. Usually when I question something, I can't tell if it is or not. So if I'm questioning, they're saying to spread their ashes. So maybe do that. Spread ashes, make a symbolic expression, release the energy. So then Winter can have more energy of presenting itself physically. Make it a ritual. Do you even have ashes? Or maybe just say make a ritual. Do a ritual. Do something of that nature. And then showing a black bird being a symbol. Of that. So, or maybe burn an ash. So I feel like, Winter's trying to connect with the ceremony of ash and release. So if it's not ashes, burn sage or burn something, so make a ceremony for her. I think that's the important thing because I question this ashes thing. I'm like, I don't know if that's actually that or not, or, if you even have the ashes or, but I think making a ceremony, burn something, light something, do a ceremony, releasing the energy. Because I feel like it's like a Native American energy. I don't know why I get Native American energy with Winter. So it's almost like do something that nature to harvest the spirit of Winter. And a blackbird. And you might see a blackbird is a symbol that she might show after the fact too. Okay. And what did you, Chubbs, right? Chubbs, no, we don't have the ashes. Yeah, we did not. Okay. Yeah. So it's just more about ceremony. Is Chubbs adjusting? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Chubbs is dressing fine. I mean, it's taking him time. I feel like in time he's going to want maybe another partner. Dogs move on because they understand the process. But, I think that Chubbs misses the companionship, right? And having another energy to bounce off of. But I also feel like Chubbs sees her or Chubbs is looking for her or, not so much looking for her, but Chubbs might see Winter a little bit, kind of like, oh, is she over there? So there's still a connection to the spirit of Winter. I think Winter's like, bring my energy up to the front. Yeah. But yeah, Chubbs is healthy. Chubbs seems fine to me. Chubbs seems fine to me. But look at the blackbird. Do that, whatever, ash burning ritual. Right? There's this Native American energy I feel like will harvest Winter's spirit for some reason. And then almost like Winter could turn to a spirit animal. I know it sounds crazy, but there's something that will do something of that nature, please. Be mystical about that, actually. And Chubbs feels fine. I feel like Chubbs, I do feel like you might get a new dog soon, you know, too, not to as a replacement, but there might be a dog that just unexpectedly comes in soon. You know, it might be another white dog, I don't know, or tan. I'm not really sure the color, but it seems just translucent to me. But yeah, I feel like another dog might pleasantly be sent to you. And I think you'll understand it's sent from Winter. Okay? But I feel like Winter gives me like a wolf, Native American wolf energy. It's really weird. You know? So I don't know. I always wondered, like, can souls who are humans be dogs? And so I'm like, why not? But I feel like, Winter has this Native American, like, ancestral background and like a wolf spirit. It's interesting. It's like, burn this ash, release this ritual ceremony of releasing. And it's weird. Interesting. But you'll see some symbols. I'm repeating myself because it sounds so hokey. But I think that would help to harvest the energy to where the spirit's around like a spirit guide. And then you'll start seeing more of that, All right. Interesting read. But I was confused. I'm like, do you have the ashes? Because intuitively, I'm like, I don't think they have the ashes. But like, do you have the ashes? Did you spread the ash? But she's showing this burning thing. And it took me a little bit to understand what the hell she was saying. But yeah, you'll feel her. And Chubbs feels okay. Again, there might be another partner coming. I don't feel like Chubbs is sick or on the way out. No, I don't feel that. No. But again, that's as of now. But I've seen things shift and change in realities and trajectories all the time. So, as of now. Okay, next question is Colleen F. My dog seems to be another dog question. My dog seems to be in pain, discomfort. The vet is suggesting a $6,000 MRI. Any surgery after that would be risky for him and would cost additional thousands. My dog is my family, and I don't know what to do. Do you have any insight on what will be the best way forward? I have to try to link to your dog through you because I don't know who you are and I don't see you. So I have to kind of go here, try to get the energy of you, and then try to latch the dog to see if I can read the dog. I'm just feeling it's nothing. It doesn't feel serious to me, though. But they're suggesting getting like a second, a third opinion. Don't just take this vet's opinion. That's what I'm feeling about this. Anyone's going to suggest an MRI. You know what I'm saying? Anyone's going to suggest an MRI, that this is protocol. I would get second or third opinion, to be honest with you. And even for me, because it doesn't feel permanent and it doesn't feel overly serious. It almost feels like an ulcer or something. But it doesn't. But again, or also it could be a tumor, but like a benign tumor or an ulcer. I get. It's hard what I'm seeing. That's pressing on something, but it doesn't feel serious, and nor does I think that the procedure would be that strenuous. So I would get a second or third opinion, but because I feel there possibly might be this ulcer or tumor, but the ulcers can also go away. But I would get a second or third opinion because again, this is a health question of what you decide to do. I don't want to be responsible for that. That's just my read, but I'd get a second or third opinion to measure out the physicality. And take it from there. But you can see if someone else can call things out either without an MRI, and then they can say, oh, it's this, we can have this, give it this couple weeks or take this. And I go, you want to have to explore options before such. But it feels to me it's nothing permanent, but it feels like something that can be managed. That's what it feels to me. But yes, get a second, third opinion, please. That's the cause. We need someone to physically measure this because I want my read to be more specific on what it really is. And again, if, like also or some sort of a lump or tumor pressing on something causing discomfort or an inflammation of something. But not serious and manageable. That's what I get on that. Weird things happen to dogs. So my dog has had such weird things too. Where I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, and then my intuition is like, just do this, give him this, and then he just gets over it. I think the whole panic aspect too tends to amplify the fact of sometimes dogs fall into sickness, or sometimes dogs just like, get little things. And we don't have to be like, oh my God, when things happen, we can definitely neutralize that. I logged into the wrong account here. You know what I'm saying, Colleen? That's what I would do. Let me just check my PayPal too really quick because I didn't look. It's all Venmo. Okay, perfect. I knew there wasn't much on PayPal today. Okay, C. Henry says, I want to thank you, Scott. We had a private reading in February, and the biggest concern was getting a house sold by June. I didn't even have an agreement to begin the process, but you saw it being sold by June, and the latest, probably sooner, it was listed for sale today, and there's 3 showings for tomorrow. I'm so wound up tighter than a jack-in-a-box toy, but you helped me a lot. Thank you. Oh, that's sweet, horses. Thank you. So I want to confirm with your appreciation donation of $15 that you will sell. It will sell. It will be great. And you're premature because, May, June is kind of what I felt for a lot of people selling the house too. And that was in your prediction as well. And so you're right at par. You're ahead of the game. So usually I think probably things will be wrapped up by May. So good for you, horses. Yeah, let me see if there's anything additional to that, but, stop worrying. That's what I'm going to say. I mean, everything reads well, but your card's like, damn, she's worried about everything. She's worried about this or that. It's all right to be concerned about things, but don't let the worry get the best of you. That's all they're saying. Because I'm like, everything else intuitively feels good, but then I try to read cards on you, and it's like all this like reversal, energies. I'm like, oh, she's stressed, she's worried, she's panicking. Don't take it step by step. So. Because the cards weren't like making sense. And now once I said that, the card's like, well, celebrate. 3 of Cups. Allow yourself to be celebratory. So right after I address that, then the cards change it and say, okay. And just make sure people aren't scheming you. Okay. Make sure people aren't taking advantage of the agents, whatever the case is, trying to lowball you. Don't make sure people aren't doing that. Stand up for yourself and say, yeah, no. This is what I'm wanting. And I'll adjust, but don't let people take advantage either. All right, Lindsay W. Lindsay Wu. I'll say Lindsay Wu. I won't say the full last name. Lindsay Wu. Hi, Scott. Can you scan my dog's body for health? She's been picky about food, and I'm wondering if what I'm feeding her she's allergic to, or she's just not liking it. Thank you. It's funny, a lot of doggy questions today. Was not prepared to. Oh, and there's a few horses. That's the new home. Real estate. There's always my new home card, new house sold, all the stuff, success in real estate. So that's why that just pulled through. And success card horses, they're all coming out now. I'm trying to move on, but that's success for you too, horses. So let me see. There's something with the food that's like making her esophagus. She's allergic to something food that's making her esophagus close up a little bit. So I'm getting a issue with the swallowing in the pet. You know what I mean? So there might be something, whether it's peas in the food or some sort of something that's allergic to. I would pull out any type of peas or any type of carrots or something like that from the food. I would stick with just kind of with the eggs or meat or chicken or potato. There's something in the current food I feel like there's hard to swallow or makes her esophagus swell. I definitely would change the food into more of a human grade food, or, there's a food I actually like with my dog. It's called Fresh Pet. It's in the fridge, and it's just like chicken and all these different things. And so, I would definitely give her more of a softer food and not kibble. But you have to be careful. Not every dog. My dog, I can change his food. He doesn't care, but you have to also make sure. But I feel like something was causing her esophagus to swell. She's been throwing up sometimes. Just give her a kip. That makes sense. It's probably because whatever's happening, she's like not able to like hold it down. So it's not even coming from the throw up, coming from her stomach. It's kind of coming from the fact that she can't swallow. You know. So human grade food. Keep it simple. Keep it clean. I wouldn't do the kibble right now. She probably wants that more because it's different than what you were feeding her before. Try a different brand. Like the Fresh Pet has like, it's still chewable food, but it's like, you know, chewable chicken little thing, you know, balls. And I just don't think what you feeding her before, but I think the kibble is better because than what she was eating before that she was reacting to. It doesn't mean kibble is what's the best for her versus the other food. You know, but the different kind of it. And I feel like whatever you've been feeding her is just something in that it's allergic to her throat. So look up Fresh Pet. You know, and they have these like, they're in the refrigerator and they have these little like chicken ball things and they're just a chewable, they can chew. And, but the kibble is not the solution. It might be a better alternative to what she was eating before, but it's not the solution. That's not the thing. All right. But with her, it's got to be more simplified of ingredients. That's probably the vegetable stuff I'm seeing. My love, don't do all that. Don't do all that. I would just keep it simple right now for her. Might be overdoing overcomplicating her food stuff. A lot of these dogs can be fine with just chopped meat, raw chopped meat, and raw chicken bones if you have, the space to accommodate for the mess with, but we don't need the dog don't need all that. It's too much. So I would just strip out a lot and just go back to being simple for a little bit, for a while. That would be the resolution. Remember, guys, our dogs didn't have like herbal buffets and all these different things in the wild. They just eat some dead carcasses, some bugs on the ground. That's all they really needed. They didn't need all these other different things, Yeah, but she doesn't have food allergies doesn't mean that she's not reacted to something with the food. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, lots of dogs will know, like, I don't like this, but my stomach doesn't feel good, or something's closing up the throat in a sense, or reacting a certain way. There's no way of really kind of measuring that if it's random, Obviously, she was throwing up something. Do you know what I'm saying? Something's causing her to spit up and throw up. I'm sensing it's because she couldn't get it all down. It was issues with digestion. So she's, that's what's causing her to regurgitate. But, but you might be just doing too much. Keep it simple. Go back to basics with her. And that might be all she really needs. And, I don't have food allergies, but sometimes I'll eat some foods and it just makes my stomach upset, or depending on what I'm having at that time. So I just think being more simplified for her to be better. I would say let's not overcomplicate that either, Okay, last but not least is a carpool for Kate. We knew that we go a night with at least one carpool. Yeah, with my dog, like I'm very simple with my dog's food. I don't want to give him all that crap. I'm just like, I'm gonna give him simple food and he's happy. No problems, no issues. I can change it to any different thing, or it'd be beef or chicken. He's fine. Once I start bringing all this, like the topper, and start giving this, like, the dental thing, all this other stuff, like he just responds differently, or he'll get like a weird eye thing that happens. It's like people wouldn't correlate that to the food. Like, that's not a food allergy. It's like, but where did the eye thing come from? Just got this eye infection for no reason? It could be from the food, right? So we just don't know a lot of the times. We think it's something unrelated, but I do notice the times I personally would do those extra things. My dog is like having all these weird issues. Then I stop, go back to very simple foods, no issues. So, and dogs know. Dogs know like what they need or not need, and if you're like, it's a good expensive food, and the dog's like, fuck it, it probably isn't a good food for them. All right, last but not least, card pull, Kate, and then we're going to close this down. As I said before, these card pulls are simple, whatever mood or vibe is. That's probably why most people didn't do card pulls today, because they understand. I always say, you don't need to treat your dog like a prince or princess with their food, because they can eat garbage, right? Keep it simple, what's good for them. You can treat the princess by cuddling them. My dog has his own bed, has multiple beds. He's got my bed. He's got his own sheet. You know, he's spoiled in the other ways with the food. Keep it simple. Spoil them in other ways. Get them their clothes and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So. Okay. It's interesting. All right, I'm just going to read the cards. I'm just going to keep it simple for Kate. Death card. Actually, let me do it in the way it came in. It came in this way. The order, so I can show it on the screen well enough. Four of Swords is more about you need to take a chill pill, relax. Death card is actual literal death. Someone might be passing. In this case, you know, death card is also transformation. But I feel in this case, there might be someone that might be on the verge of passing, because that's next to the Tower card. There's a change on this, or just a complete transformation too, actually. But I do feel like there's someone also might be on the verge of passing. Either friend or family, something of that nature. Will cause a lot of change, you know, or create a lot of change, but it doesn't feel bad or horrible. Because the Sun card after that saying that it's almost like this release or this transformation or this death actually ends up being kind of the best thing for you. Release. It's like, oh, things feel brighter now. Things feel, you know what I mean? So either it's literal or figuratively. I feel like it's both. I feel like it's both literally that someone might pass on. That might be a release. At the same time, this is figurative. There's some emotional change going on, a transformation that's also bringing you to peace that you're looking for, that you're needing. So it's actually both for me, you know. So my advice is to embrace the process of this. You know, understand, like, you know, let's let life be. That, you know, that's the thing I want to say to you. Many people just don't let life be. You know, there's a process to life. Like we all have an expiration date, right? We all have a time we're going to pass on. We can't fight that with us or other people. Let life be. Stop trying to like control and dictate life when you are life yourself, and that you can't control other life when life has its own life. Let life be. And when you let life be and you just show up to experience life that need be, then that's where the peace happens. That's where the understanding happens. That's where these transformations become huge realizations, you know, huge, wonderful moments in our lives, right? So, I mean, that card pull inspired me to say this, but that's what I kind of feel too, in a sense, you know, just overall with that. So, we got to stop being so focusing on I want, I don't want, and versus I am, I will be. I'm over this. I want, I don't want. I want, I don't want. It's like, it's not about, when life isn't here to take your order. You know, we didn't come here and incarnate and be like, okay, let me place my order now. I want this. I want that. Okay, universe, give it to me. I don't got to do any, right? And this is not you, Kathleen. I'm going on another tangent. That's not what we came here for. You know, we knew it's about it being the person we want to be and being in this density, so like you can see ourselves through a, you know, physical format, through a tangible, dragged out experience, so we can observe it more. And, you know, in 3D, we can look at things like this more, and, you know, and be more detailed and be more zoomed in than in spirit. So this physical persona is so we can be zoomed in. Stop trying to dictate how life is supposed to unfold for you, instead of understand why life is unfolding the way it is because of how you're being. So you become more in control of evolving the self. So that's the real deal there. And I think I'm getting burnt out. Readings are closed. I forgot even to close the readings down. Thank God y'all are feeling me. No, wrong thing. Oh, and I forgot to Nina, you didn't even remind me either that I forgot your message. Here's a wonderful message from Nina, actually. before we close.
Beautiful Thursday crew, I got a channel message just for you. When I was tapping in, I kept hearing defining the boundaries. That will set you free. I heard having this kind of loose form of boundaries gives this kind of false energy of liberation, when in reality, it's like trying to drink water without a cup. You need the cup as the boundary to pour the water in so that you can drink it. I kept seeing this imagery of you trying to drink water without the glass, just on the table, just trying to breadcrumb yourself into drinking water almost. And Spirit was showing me the symbology is really showing where do you breadcrumb yourself in life and where are you okay receiving breadcrumbs from others because of your lack of defining the boundary. So your guides want to share again that within the boundary, within some type of structure, and not overly structured to where that's a cause of suffering too, but not super loose either where it's just nothing, but a healthy amount of boundaries in order for you to experience flexibility, joy, curiosity, and so much excitement going forward into the next few months.
You know, and I like that too, because I want to add to that, because that also gave me a good, realization too, Nina, because I think a lot of people misunderstand a lot of people's purpose and meanings in their lives, right? Because they're like, this one relationship has to be everything what a best friend's supposed to be. Every person in my life has to be that best friend energy. It's like, some relationships here just give you a little bit. Some relationships here give you a little bit. And in totality, each of those relationships are giving everything that you need from different dynamics. Right? And so, and I think that people don't understand, sometimes those relationships will be around for years. You might not see them all the time, but when you do, it's like connected, and it's always those long-term relationships that just are there to give you need at the time you need it, and vice versa. Right? And so it's true. And I think that sometimes we put so much emphasis that every single experience has to be that totality of energy. It's like, what are you doing? Not every person in your life has to match all that. People for different levels, for different experiences, different reasons, different dynamics in your life. So I like that you're saying that when we understand all those different pieces from other people, we actually can form the cup, and then we understand, oh, I have all this water, because we're actually gathering it together as one unified experience through all the different connections that we have. We're unifying it all, instead of like, we broke the glass, it's all fragmented, I'm just taking little pieces here and there. It's like, no, look at the bigger picture. So I like both ends of that spectrum, And so, and many people are actually defining things as breadcrumbing when it's not breadcrumbing, because they think that they're not, just like I said, they're not getting enough for that one person. That person's just there for that one reason. That one person to have fun with. That's it, So be conscious of that, So sorry, Nina, that I got such a rant before, and I'm a little delulu and a little scattered in my moves, so I apologize, but maybe save the best for last. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the whole point. Good. Maybe that's the last thing people need to hear. So. All right. Well, I will end it here because I am tired. And so it's great to see you guys. We did not have LOL this morning. So catch us next week on LOL and next week for my live show. I'm trying to think of what I want to talk about next week. So, I want to do something next week more like exhilarating. Spirit calls me a lot to address a lot of the breaking the heaviness, but I want to do something like exhilarating. I want to do something like kind of like fascinating. So I'm trying to plan something if I can, because that'll be the day before I move. So I'm so dedicated to you all that I'm packing everything up in the pod, and I'm leaving my studio stuff here so I can still do my live shows, and then I'm packing it in my Bronco and then going. So, but that's also because I need my studio equipment, because the pod won't arrive in 5 days, so I still need my stuff anyways. But still, I'm dedicated. I'm gonna do something fun and something very mind-bending about spirituality. Something. So if you guys have suggestions, send them over. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I love you and your gorgeous little pets walking around. And a lot of times, we care, like I was saying in the beginning, we might care too much that we're causing damage because we're caring too much, instead of just like taking a step back and being objective. There's very much a message. A lot of times our worry about things can cause us to do things that can cause more worry, So just make sure you guys are finding the balance with that, because a lot of times what I see is the answers and solutions are rather simple, actually. So keep that in mind. I love you all. I think you all are very amazing people in the chat and beautiful souls. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Get some sleep, get some rest. We're in some interesting roller coastery times. I do feel like May, June, things will definitely open up and go for the positive. So it's not going to be in this contentious energy for long. We're not going downhill, not going to Armageddon. Okay, that's not our trajectory. And so I love that the World card actually came out with this too. So that's just a sign that the World card is going to be all good. And the High Priestess card right after that's saying that this is all a spiritual mission. So thank you, cards, for confirming that, right? So I will leave you guys with my long commercial and testimonials advert, so you guys can still chat in the room. So I'll see you guys next week. You guys are all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? Much love. I'll run this long outro commercial so you guys can still chat, and I'll see you next week. Good night, guys.
I just want to say thank you, Scott, for all of your reassurance and guidance. I had a mediumship reading, and you brought my uncle and my mother-in-law forward. And I mean, there was things that you said that nobody would know. Like, it was so accurate. It was insane. And I appreciate the closure that I got and the peace that I felt. And I really appreciate even more that you are a genuine person who truly cares. That made the biggest difference for me. Thank you, Scott.
Hey, I just wanted to take a minute to thank Scott Cruz. He made such a huge difference in my grief. I'm a little bit emotional because he just said things about my husband and my papa that there's no way anybody could have known or guessed. I know my children were skeptical. Scott told me they would visit me, and they both are together, and they have both visited me together. He told me things about my grandchildren, nicknames. There's nothing he could have known beforehand. So I definitely appreciate him, and if you're having any issues, struggling through grief, and needing some guidance or just needing to feel okay, talk to Scott.
Hey there, my name is Chad, and over the past 6 or 7 years, I've probably had about 4 or 5 readings with Scott Cruz. He brought up personal things that I don't know how nobody else would know but me, and he brought them up, which was just incredible. And one thing I will say is Scott tends to talk fast, so take notes. I've taken notes since the very beginning because sometimes they don't make sense. He'd said something, it didn't make sense to me, and then a year and a half later, after I had spoken to someone and I reread those notes, I was like, oh wow, Scott nailed it back then. Didn't make sense then, but it made sense as time passed. I was able to find something out. It was just incredible. And the last thing is what I like about Scott is he doesn't seek out fame or fortune from this. He genuinely wants to help people. I thoroughly recommend an appointment with Scott. Go ahead and book it. You won't be disappointed.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.